Welcome back, everyone, to 1 Minute Recess, coming to you live from Las Vegas because I was finally released from the depths of Carson City, and we are going to dissect all of the special session with you tonight because there's been a lot that's gone on since we talked to you last week. Things were changing rapidly last week when we talked to you. Things changed even as we were putting this out. So I'm excited to dive into it. Maria, what do we
Hi,
have
everyone. I have lots of questions about session, and there's lots of BS also happening outside of session. But why don't we take you back to Carson City? It seems like it was a lifetime ago. Take us back in time to how it went.
Just need everybody to calm down. I will say, and I think I said this last week, but I'll say it again. I have never been more happy to work on other issues other than like those, like the show stopping issues. Normally you and I were like right there in the thick of the bullshit, right? We were right there, kind of the tip of the sphere, going after like the big nonsensical bills, and would be the ones yelling at people, would be the ones like holding people accountable. And look, I get to do some of that still, but I don't have to do it quite as much. And my job is a lot less hostile, I guess you could say. So it's nice. It's refreshing to like be on the backside of it, just watching that stuff as like normal. Annette is just a Nevadan who cares about politics.
Mm-hmm.
I got to work on other bills, which we will get to in a moment, that are equally as important, but didn't get as much attention as like the film tax credits and things like that. So we can get into it, but session ended with a bang. People are angry with each other. People are not talking in the two caucuses. You had people in their own caucuses going after each other. It was wild. I was trying to get out of Carson City. The road was shut down. I couldn't even get out of Carson City the Wednesday night. I was like, y'all, just let me out. Just let me go home.
They tried to imprison you all in there?
I felt like I was trapped. Definitely a poor, defenseless woman died on the freeway, walking on the freeway. So unfortunately that happened, and that blocked the freeway getting out of Carson City. But I literally felt trapped. I was like, I can't leave. The one road out of Carson City to the Reno airport was shut down. So we had to turn around, go back to our Airbnb, and watch them close out of session, which was a true delight. So we'll get into it. What questions do you got, Maria? What do you want to start with?
Well, first off, you said it ended with a bang, and I got scared because when we were with Steve Sebelius, if folks remember, there was
Nobody got shot. Don't worry.
Okay, good. That was my first question because last episode was like,
Ellison left and never came back. We'll just say that. He literally left the building, went out to Elko, and never came back. Didn't vote remotely, just never came back.
He just ditched completely.
Yep. Was angry and just left the building.
Goodness.
Fascinating shit.
Don't they usually, or is this only for regular legislative session, but wouldn't they usually take Capitol Hill police to go find legislators?
Yes.
Or are they just like, we're not doing it this time?
Well, so many Republicans had already left. You had, like 3 or 4 in the Assembly. You had 3 or 4 in the Senate. By the end, people were just like abandoning their posts. So it was
sinking ship.
Truly a sinking ship. And so you just had Republican after Republican like leaving the building. At one point, Buck was gone. She came back though. They, we had legislators like calling in via telephone at one point on the Assembly side so they could get the film bill out of the Assembly. And it was all the Republicans. I'm like, do you not think anybody's paying attention to this? That you literally just like shirked your responsibilities to the taxpayers of Nevada? You call in a special session and then you all go on vacation? Like, I literally had tickets to something, flew home and flew back, and I'm not an elected official. I just had a responsibility to my clients. These people just left on European vacations and shit. Like, wait, who's gone today? Where are they going? How is this real?
Wait, so
And then apparently, so as we're filming this Tuesday night, so it's been exactly a week since we recorded last week with Steve. We were recording Tuesday night. We were just texting with Sibelius, what, 10 minutes ago?
Mhm.
As of Tuesday night, November 25th, there are still bills that Governor Lombardo has not signed. So my theory is, because the past week has been, we've been hearing that he was going to Cabo on a family vacation with his wife, the man who works with immigration services with ICE
Mhm.
is taking a family vacation to Mexico. That's rich, but I digress. He still hasn't signed like the crime bill and shit, which is the whole reason this cockamamie special session was called in the first place, because the resorts were having a shit fit that they didn't get their bill passed in the regular session. This was not called for some like wonderful reason, like, oh, we're going to deal with people who don't have access to food and SNAP. Now, that bill did pass, thank God, and it was already signed by the governor, thank God. Like, really? You're just going to up and go to wherever you are?
To the other side of the border.
The irony of that. My
Yeah.
husband, Nick, is the one who pointed it out. He's like, really? He's going to Mexico?
Yeah. So
Really?
you
Did
have
he not see the like irony of this whole thing, Joe Lombardo?
so we have Trump's best friend, one of his best friends, Joe Lombardo, going to Mexico,
Yeah.
where he deports people to, both of them. And then you have Republicans going to Europe, which is too liberal for some of them. This is all fascinating.
Fascinating. A fascinating exercise in hypocrisy, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Don't
The governor is the one who called the special session, knowing people's schedules, knowing we were coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday, knowing people were going to start traveling for the holidays. He was the one with the hotels that were in a big rush to get this done. Get it done. Get it done, Joe. Where
for
you
it. He's probably at an all-inclusive resort in Cabo and won't leave to see real people.
Listen, it's like Charlotte on Sex and the City when she accidentally drinks the water. I hope he gets diarrhea for making us all go to Carson City. I hope Montezuma's revenge gets him for
Mm,
making us all go to Carson City and then letting all the Republicans leave. But Annette couldn't. Truly. Great job, everyone. Bang up job with special session.
good job.
Special session itself was a shit show. It started really fast, right? Like, I think Steve and I talked about this, right? Like, the momentum was really good. We get up there Thursday, we're already seeing bills starting to roll out. We're seeing the SNAP bill come. It's the Silver State Assistance Program that Senate Majority Leader Canizaro put together. That thing's rolling. The healthcare bill with the vaccine stuff in it is rolling. We have hearings the first day. We have hearings on appropriations bills the first day. And then we have the film tax credit nonsense starting the assembly. So that's all moving. Like the first day, Thursday, when I left Friday morning to go to BravoCon, I was like, damn, maybe I won't have to come back up here. This could be great. I'll just have somebody drive my suitcase home. Oh, this could be amazing, right? Like they're moving so fast. Maybe they'll get all this done. Then they just keep adding shit. Then stuff goes, how it is. Stuff goes off the rails. Like
Mhm.
all of a sudden, the politics starts happening. The
Yeah.
personalities start happening. The infighting starts happening. Maria, I hear about all kinds of crazy shit happening on the assembly side, on the Senate side, with the Republicans, with the Democrats. It was crazy. I'm hearing about coups within the parties, within the caucuses. I'm hearing about people having like personality conflicts, people trying to overthrow newly elected leadership. Like, yeah,
Coup within a coup because of the there was
coups.
coupception. It was cuckoo. So you went to BravoCon, and we went once, and it was insane. Especially there were some fights happening, some with the audience. So what's more insane, a BravoCon panel
Listen,
or
nothing compared. You know why? You know why? Special session actually involves people's real lives, right?
Mhm.
You're dealing with real lives. We're talking about real Nevadans. We're talking about potentially bankrupting the state if we go through this movie cockamamie nonsense. We're
Mhm.
talking about all kinds of really critical and life-changing policies that these folks are considering in Carson City. BravoCon's all like made up drama, right?
Yeah.
Sprinkle cookies,
Sprinkle cookies.
truly. So, like, it's fun, but like you come back and it was literal drama, right? Over crazy shit. You had in the Senate Lori Rogich at one point admonished for going after one of her colleagues on the floor for making a deal with the Democrats. So, like, okay, so we get through the weekend, right?
Huh.
But then we start hearing, hey, there's another bill coming. And we're like, what the hell could there be another bill with? And this was Tuesday when we recorded, when Steve and I recorded, and we had started to hear the rumors. And then they're all proud of themselves because they signed this petition to either start a new special session, the 80 or the 37th special session, or add another agenda item to the agenda in
Mhm.
on the current proclamation that the governor had signed. So we're still not clear which one of them happened. I'm still not 100% sure if it was added to the proclamation or if they started a new one. I think it was added to the proclamation. I think that's what ended up happening, but it was about as clear as mud. So we go into the hearing in the assembly, and the people presenting are the Senate because it's a Senate bill, because this was like Ira Hansen going to the Dems. I mean, like, hey, if we're going to do this and we're already called in, like, let's work on something urgent, which is housing. So they brought up Dina Neal's vetoed housing bill from last session. Now, it would limit corporate landlords to buying up, I think it started at 100 homes. By the end of that hearing, I think the amendment got it to 1,000 homes. So not great, right? But it was a start at least. At least we're having the freaking conversation. Today, there's an article that came out that said like housing prices are about to go through the roof, right? So like we have a real crisis in Nevada around housing. So we have this here. The Hansons are the 2/3 vote we need to get it on the agenda. It gets to the floor of the assembly and it dies because because it's a joint bill.
Mhm.
It dies because Alexis Hansen votes against it. Everybody's like, what? That point, the Hansons just leave the building
They just left.
because, like, poor Alexis is like getting all this pressure from her caucus. Then the Dems, like, apparently, like, turn on her because they're like, you had us put this on the agenda and then you didn't vote for it? What?
Yeah.
It was chaos.
Wow.
And I was like, how did we
This all makes, and this is a lot to say, this almost makes Congress look competent.
The only difference is, and I will give them this, right? When it comes to like really important, like basic shit, they can still get that done. Like, SNAP was unanimous. The SNAP program, voting on that, I mean, the Republicans would have looked terrible had they voted against an assistance program like that. But I will say, that was a bipartisan thing. The governor put it on the proclamation, so kudos to him. He didn't have to do that. He could have went along with MAGA land. He didn't have to do that. And he could have turned around and he could have vetoed it, right?
Yeah.
But
True.
unanimously, Republicans and Democrats voted for it. So kudos to them for still being able to do the fucking basics. But when it comes to the really important stuff, right? Not that SNAP's not important. SNAP is critical. But like housing is critical too. And like we are in a crisis, whether we want
Mm.
to admit it or not in Nevada and across this country, like we are in a housing crisis. I just watched a 60-minute special with Ryan Zinke of all fucking people. Who's like,
Sneaky
no, we
zinky.
shouldn't be selling. Yeah, we shouldn't be selling off our public lands because it's not going to fix the housing crisis. And I looked at Nick and I was like, when the hell have I ever agreed with Ryan Zinke on anything? Stinky Zinke.
Shout out. Out.
Well,
Wow.
ish.
Shit.
You should go watch it. Actually, it's interesting. But anyways, we're in a housing crisis and we can't even pass a housing bill. And and listen, I don't agree with Alexis Hansen on much. But I love Alexis Hansen because she's honest and she's straightforward. And I usually know where she stands, right? And so I think everybody assumed, well, if she wants this on the on the agenda, she's gonna vote for it. Her husband helped present the bill, and then she's like the deciding vote to kill it. I was shooketh.
Do we know what happened?
So
Like,
you
did
have that
someone threaten
happen.
her?
Who knows, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe the governor's office did for even doing that, right? Because it did. It made him look stupid. It put him in a box.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Joe Lombardo deserves to look stupid. This whole thing is
Yeah.
on his back. This whole failure of a special session is on him. Because it
Exactly.
shouldn't have happened in the first place, because none of this was urgent. None of this was an emergency.
Thanks, Joe. Standing ovation.
900,000, it's 100,000 a day, $900,000 to do a special session for
Are
gaming.
you
Because
kidding me?
that's what it boiled down to. Yeah, dumbasses. Anyways, so then, film tax passes over. One of my favorite things about film taxes. Now, we have been very clear, and I could talk about this until I'm blue in the face. I have clients on both sides of this. In a professional setting, I will toe the line for my client. Me, as human being, tax-paying citizen Annette Magnus only, I think is the dumbest thing we could possibly do. It was going to bankrupt the state by 2030? There was like a huge fiscal cliff with this thing.
Yeah.
We get to the Senate, there are amendments offered to the film tax people. Like, that will not make us go off this fiscal cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we should have accepted any amendments or not. What I'm saying is there were amendments that could have gotten people to yes.
So it's
Who
not
did
like
not.
it's
It
not like
wasn't like
legislators weren't
outright.
inflexible. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, Scheibel, I've heard, was one of the ones who was out there like, hey, like, let's come to some sort of agreement. Let's find common ground. Let's have an amendment where this doesn't all hit at once and like tank the government and tank our budget.
Yeah, let's
That's what I
polish
want
this turd. Yeah.
That's what I want a legislator to actually do, right? Is to like think ahead and like be like, how can we make this better?
Wait, you want a legislator to legislate?
Fascinating, right? So they get it into the Senate. Now I'm told by one of my very favorite lobbyists. I'm not going to name names, but I think you probably will know who I'm talking about when I start going down this road. I've gone rounds with this person many a time in the Nevada legislature, and she me. Well, I've got the Senate on lock. Annette, I can do anything in the Senate. I've got so many connections in the Senate. And I was like, okay. Meanwhile, like, I've got somebody who's telling me that the votes don't exist in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a senator.
Huh. Someone actually there? Someone who goes there?
And it's not Melanie. And they're like, I don't know if we've got this. And I'm like, so I just sit back and watch, right? Because I'm like, I've got clients on both sides of this. I'm not getting in the middle of it, right? Like, not my fight anymore. That is our previous employer. Whatever. They can half-ass it like they always do. So I keep hearing, we got the votes. We got the votes. Labor saying we have the votes. This lobbyist is saying they have the votes. I'm just like, I'm doing the math, and the math ain't mathing. And listen, I know I do CCSD math, but I can count to what I need in the Senate because it's not a very high number, and they ain't mathing. So it comes down to Angie Taylor from the North, Senator Angie Taylor. And apparently they call Mayor Sheevy in to try and bully her into a position. They call Devin Reeson from the city council to try and bully her into this position. I hear there's all kind of like bribes and deals, which to anybody who's like in shock that there's bribes and deals, come on, friends. Like,
Welcome
you
to
obviously,
politics.
right? You've been in politics for 5 minutes because that happens literally on all of these things, right? So apparently something happens. She is like, I prayed on it. No. Edgar Flores
I prayed on it
apparently
now.
gets in a fight with one of the union guys
Like
in the Senate. Edgar Flores leaves the building.
Oh my
Like
God.
Right. Leaves the building. He said it on the record, too. This is not Annette talking shit. Like, he said it as he was about to vote no. So this is not Annette talking shit. This is Edgar said it in his floor speech.
What?
Then you got Melanie who's like, yeah, they wouldn't take my deal. I tried to negotiate with them. Wouldn't take it. Then you have like Dina Neal who gets up and she like reads a quote from her dad, who is one of the most influential Nevada senators in all of Nevada, Joe Neal. He was just a history-making individual, incredible person. I had the privilege of meeting him when I first started working for Congresswoman Titus, and she reads this quote about corporation, and then she's like, "But Nicole Cannizzaro saved my life, so I'm gonna vote for this shit." Maria, when I tell you, I was like, "What?" I was so mad in that moment. I was just like, because listen, Dina Neal is one of those people who I feel is incredibly principled and, like, always stands for the right thing, and there's still progressive left in me, right? And I'm watching it and I'm like, "Wait, what? You just read this, like, incredibly inspiring quote from your father, and now you're gonna vote for this? Because Nicole saved your life?" I mean, I guess, but Imma tell you right now, you and I, we're best friends. Even if you fucking saved my life, if you said, "Hey, Annette, you gotta vote for this pile of shit," I'd probably be like, "Maria, I love you, but no. That's not how I'm gonna repay you for this."
Did she literally? Because this is sounding like the new guy outside of the gym living in a truck.
So, Brian, okay, tell the story now, please. You
So,
have to tell the story.
in another special session a long time ago, the one that brought us the Roomba on by the I-15, the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium, um, it was a very fraught session, and many people in the Senate were hemming and hawing, getting threatened, all the same stuff. But there was a couple speeches where they were like, "Here are the concerns. This can be terrible." But then I got a call from a there was a senator who said, "But then I got a call, or I heard testimony on the phone from the guy that lives in his truck outside a gym." And it was like, same thing, like, heard all the concerns, heard that maybe 25 years down the line, this could fuck over the state. But there's a guy that one of the unions got to call in, and he lives in a truck outside of a gym. He showers at the athletic club, and he changed everything for her. And it's like,
Because it
huh?
was a temporary job. Now, let's be clear. We're not laughing about people living in their cars and
No,
showering at the gym. What we're laughing about is this is a temporary job that this
yeah,
human was going to get. And I don't know if it was a real story or not. We don't know. But that's why she changed her mind and voted for this and then called us and said, we should know her heart.
no, my heart.
And
Yeah.
then 2 weeks later, got a $10,000 check from the fucking Raiders once the blackout period ended. But we
Hmm.
should know her heart. Spare me.
Weird.
And I guarantee you, Maria, I guarantee you, if you go look at these people's C&E reports,
You're going to see
either
some
right
fat
before
checks.
session or right after session, when the blackout period ends and we are, coming back into the new year, because there is a for those that don't know, when you go into a special session or when you're in a regular session, these legislators, the governor, all of the kind of constitutional officers, they all have a blackout period. So they can't accept donations within a certain time. That's why the governor called them in the night before they were called in, because then they could still accept donations up until that period. But I guarantee you, if you go and look at their C&E reports, their contributions and expenses reports, pretty soon, I bet you anything, Howard Hughes will be on there, Warner Brothers. But we should know these people's hearts.
Quite
All
well.
I know is they've lost 3 times now. You gonna call it a rest?
Are you trying to make fetch happen? Sounds like you're trying to make fetch happen.
So you had Republicans vote for it. You had Republicans vote against it. You had Northerners vote for it. You had Southerners vote against it. It was very weird. The whole makeup was just crazy. Somehow they got the governor on board with this. I'm going to tell you right now, the polling on this is horrific.
Mm.
So anybody who thinks that this is going to help them in a re-election campaign,
Yeah. Especially like in these times. Aren't
it's
there more
it's
important things?
so that was the other part of it. You are literally voting to create a system as a fallback plan, not if, when the federal government fails again to ensure Nevadans can eat. The
Hmm.
poorest among us can eat. But you're going to give billions of dollars to billionaires for a film tax studio? Like, what In what world does it and, you can sit here and say, "Oh, this is the one I fucking love." This was the man in the truck. At one point, I hear the proponents say, "This is gonna give great jobs to thousands of people, thousands of Nevada, six-figure jobs. We're gonna hire felons." And I'm like, "To do what?" Now, I'm all for hiring people with felonies. I am all for hiring formerly incarcerated people. We should all do that. And also, what skills are these folks going to have to go into a highly skilled industry? Like, where are they going to get those skills?
Are you gonna provide skills training in the prisons for them to come
Well, and
out
that was
ready?
right. And that was one of the questions that Senator Lang, who was the original author of the original bill, had talked about. Like, where are the workforce development things that are going to go into it? Like, not just buying people off, but like, how are you going to invest in education programs so that actual Nevadans can go and get these jobs and have the skills and be prepared to go and get these jobs?
Now that you mentioned the original movie gal of Nevada, Senator Lang, who was a hell no, it sounds like this was the Timu version of her bill.
It was like we don't have to spend as much. We're just going to ram and jam it through, and we think we're going to get what we want because the Raiders got what they wanted, and the A's got what they wanted, and Tesla got what they wanted. This was like the Tesla version of all this. And my thought process is, you were just saying before we started that what number are we in healthcare?
50 out of 51.
So Nevada is 50th in healthcare in the United States. Maybe, call me crazy, if we invested more in our schools and more in our infrastructure and more in
Mm,
our healthcare and like move those things up instead of just investing in like corporations.
mm.
I get we need to do economic development and we need to bring businesses here, but maybe if we improve those things, they would want to come here on their own
Yeah.
because we already have a good tax structure for them.
Yeah. I mean, like anybody, like how many times have we heard either from friends or people that we know or people that know we know? And there's probably people out there that, like, if you have a long term severe illness, where do you have to go usually? You gotta go to California. You gotta go to another state because it's so much hard to find a specialist or get in the door with a specialist. And so California has tons of them, and other states do in the West. And here we are, like, just absolutely rolling out the red carpet, the Timu red carpet that we have because we can't afford a real one, and saying, come on in, come on in. We suck at every. So all of those people with all of those jobs and the people serving hot dogs at Allegiant Stadium and have those temporary
By the
jobs
way, that are still not fucking unionized.
that are still not unionized, where are they all supposed to, like, that's, thank you, Senator Lang, for saying these things of like, where is that development, one, for that workforce, and two, to add on to that, to actually have a livable, enjoyable life in the state of Nevada as opposed to the Nevada way, which is the Hunger Games.
So now we have the laborers, our friends over at Laborers, whatever their number is, 872, I think.
872.
Tommy White and friends. They're revoking their endorsements of people because they're throwing a temper tantrum because they didn't get what they wanted, which also is precious to me because, like, when we were in our former job, like, we would be pissed off, but, like, we would still do what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally were told no once because keep in mind, they've been told yes every other time. So they've revoked people's endorsements now. So apparently they're going to go with the Republicans, which I'm like, okay, like maybe that's going to be better. But like, let me remind you, Lori Rogich also voted against your shit. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, and you and I've talked a lot about this, and this is the thing I actually take offense to. You and I both grew up in union families,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the culinary unit. But my grandpa used to be the secretary treasurer of the building trades, right? Like, this is in our blood, both of us. We believe in unions. We fight for unions. You have worked for a union, right? Like, this is something that we truly believe in. To sit here and say that people are anti-labor simply because they voted against a bill that fiscally doesn't make sense. I get that our union brothers or sisters are desperate for jobs. Then pass that housing bill. Help us pass that housing bill because that's gonna do more long term for you
Yeah.
than a temporary build of a studio.
Right.
And it just like want if that studio got built, of course we'd want it done with union labor. Of course they should have project labor agreements. Of course they should have card checks for culinary and all of that stuff. It's critical. But to sit here and say this is like a litmus test as to whether or not you support union jobs or not, like, come on, guys.
No.
And they used to say that shit about you and I when we would oppose these things.
Yeah. Yeah. They'd be like, cool, you're anti-labor now. Like, you know, like we're suffering and we don't have jobs. Okay, that is one, awful. Two, this isn't the only way to bring like you said, to bring jobs into the
Especially
state.
construction. Yes.
Yeah. And like how many, especially when I remember in the Allegiant Stadium fight, there was a lot of also conversation, and even labor was a like, it really made me mad that they didn't fight on it more of, those community programs and making sure that certain contractors and that certain people within the union could be insured employment, because we know how sometimes they might ship people in from another state. They might, hire the cheapest labor and pay all of them horrible wages. So is it that we're anti-labor, or you're the one that's anti-labor and you're the one that isn't actually fighting for long-term solutions for your membership and instead want to be next to those people that probably don't even want unions in the first place, but they have to have them, and you are being used as a pawn by those big corporations? I think that's what it is, not us.
I know is we can't keep repeating the same shit over and over.
Mhm.
We need a better way to draw business to the state and frankly keep the businesses we have because I got to tell you, the gaming companies got everything they fucking wanted this session. Now, switching my hats, right? Like working with retail now, working on with some other groups. Small businesses didn't get shit this session. Real Nevadans, other than the SNAP thing, didn't get shit this session. And so for me, it's really, really frustrating to watch us just do more of the same because that's
Mhm.
what this special was. It was more of the same. And I'm going to tell you right now, like Nevadans are sick of it. Even my dad, he called me yesterday and he was like, what was with that special session? And I was like, Dad, I don't know. Right. But like real Nevadans did not see the urgency of
No.
why we all needed to go in and give gaming whatever they want. Because that's essentially what we did.
Yeah, when I told my mom, one of the first episodes we did talking about this, and when you went to Carson City, that special session was starting for what?
This quote from Jill Dickman. So this is in the current article that Jennifer Solis wrote. And the quote from Assembly Member Jill Dickman, she's up in Sparks. She's a Republican, but also one of my favorite lawmakers,
Mm.
strangely enough.
Super nice
She
every
summed up
time she sees us.
just amazing. She summed up the sentiment during a hearing when she explained lawmakers were speeding through the film industry subsidy bill during a special session, not because it's urgent, but because someone wants it rushed. And I'm like, yeah, that sums it up perfectly. There are certain industries that wanted certain things rushed and done and got exactly what they wanted, even if their bills didn't pass. And then there was the rest of us who were like, well, what about all these other important things? Those that are actually emergencies, Joe Lombardo. Why not tackle those things?
We have a long running list of emergencies that have been kicked down the road.
And what really chaps my ass, and you look through this article, and again, transparency was a huge issue this special session. You have Yeager, who is no longer running for anything, and probably a good thing for him because he had
Yeah.
a really rough regular session and he had a really rough special session, lacking leadership and lacking transparency. I'm gonna keep my comments to that because there's not a lot of nice things I got to say. but stripped people of their ability to call in, which is crazy, and which sent people who are watching, who are paying attention, who do want to participate in the process, but can't get to Carson City. I mean, that's a huge lack of transparency and a huge way of cutting off access to people's legislative process. Because this is our legislative process, right? And it's, they're making all kinds of excuses. First, I heard the phones didn't work. Now, in this article, Tracy Brown May saying there was staffing shortage. I call bullshit.
No, no, it's worked. Literally, it
Literally, excuse
worked.
after excuse.
Because, like, how many special sessions have we been through since COVID? Or
Oh,
and they figured out a way. Like, it might have taken a while to, like, get through the phones and all that, and there would be
the
issues.
Senate kept it. So there was
Yeah.
a staffing shortage only on the assembly. They share the same fucking
They
staff.
share, like, in the building, it doesn't say Senate, what is it? Senate telerecording room. It's
TV.
the technical room. Yes, for everyone. And they switch. Like, I remember hearing, like, the same voice on both chambers of the person saying, press star 9 now.
It's just so frustrating. And then this is my favorite one. So Cecilia Gonzalez, Assemblymember Cecilia Gonzalez, I'm going to read this to you and I'm going to let you have this reaction and talk about where we've talked about this before, because you and I in particular went to war on this issue before. So this session was initiated so abruptly. There was little time to prepare and no alternative plan was implemented to ensure Spanish-speaking Nevadans could participate. It should have been something considered by leadership as well, as they set the decisions for special session, Gonzalez said. Maria, where have we heard that before? This is not a new issue to the Nevada legislature, because where did we deal with this? In a different special session a few Novembers ago.
Redistricting with all of these people. With
Same
all
people,
of these same people.
leadership.
And for people that are like, what the heck are they talking about? There is no law say you have to testify, one, in a certain way, and two, in a certain language. And everybody should be able to make their voice heard however best they can. Right? Right. In redistricting, which we won't go down the whole fight, but for context, the district in question would carve out the Latino population in 3, essentially. It did. And many Latino organizations were rightfully upset because they also weren't talked to about this. There was no transparency about this is the plan. What do you think? Didn't have a seat at the table. Only certain people did. And then once we actually got to hear and see the maps and see what was going on, lots of these organizations got regular, non-lobbyists. Not all lobbyists are bad, but these were non-lobbyists, not political people that were recruited through grassroots organizers, and they were ready on the phones to testify. We were in the actual building in Carson City, and there was a person who worked for the state, a branch of one of the administrative agencies, who was asked to work on that Saturday
I forgot about this.
because she spoke Spanish and she had no idea what was going on. And how do we know this? Because the hearing went along and she was not able to properly translate and interpret what people were saying. And you could hear people audibly get upset, both on the phones and in the room, who did speak Spanish and like knew the words that they had to say. But one, either she was super nervous because she was literally called that morning, or, just sometimes it's a real job to be an interpreter, right? And couldn't find the words in the moment. And people in the room were trying to help her and say, hey, this is the word. And we got yelled at by the Democratic leadership of that hearing because we were really trying to help her by like whispering the words. And I went to her after the hearing ended, or like not after the hearing ended, but like right after she finished up. And I went up to her and I talked to her and I said, I know some of us were like audibly frustrated trying to help, but it wasn't you that we were frustrated with. It was the leadership trying to yell at us. And she goes, no, I totally understand. And that's when she said, I didn't know what all of this was about until I walked in. I was just called in on my day off because I'm bilingual. So, how dare you, for just anyone, not have, I don't know, a link or something where you could hire a translator? Also, we also don't have ways for people that are hard of hearing to be able to follow along with a hearing. The school board, CCSD does. We don't.
I don't understand why they think special is something different than regular session. Like,
It's not.
these services belong. People get to testify. People get to participate regardless of language, whether it's a regular session or a special session. And again, as you're saying, the Clark County School District can fucking do it. The state of Nevada should be able to do it. Like, this is not something that's like outside of the realm of possibilities. I'm going to read another quote from this current article from our friend John Pirro because I think it's spot on. Advocates echoed those concerns. John Pirro, representing the Nevada Attorneys for Criminal Justice, told lawmakers during the hearing on the crime bill, which was a hotly contested issue, has been since regular session, that last session we had hours of opposition. And this was at the end of session, right? But still had hours of opposition. And cutting off the phones now has cut off hours of opposition for this bill. So it's almost like it's intentional, right? You cut off the opposition, you cut off the phones, then you can't hear from real people and it saves you time. But guess what? That's not fucking democracy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not
not.
how any of this works.
Yeah, you work for us, y'all. You work for us. For the people that agree with you and for the people who disagree with you. And that's to both parties. Because for people that don't pay attention, it has been, this time it was the Democrats doing this. And at that time during
I mean, we
redistricting,
have a history of doing that.
yeah. And so it's like both parties, remember, you work for us.
It's so frustrating. And it's frustrating to watch, right? And it's frustrating to be up there and participating and encouraging people, real people who are taking time out of their busy schedules and their day to participate in their government, to see those things taken away. And no, it's still happening in the Senate. So there should be no excuse. It was just that Yeager didn't want it to happen. That at the bottom, at the end of the day, I'm so tired of people covering for Yeager. He just didn't want it to happen. And like, there is no, it's about this whole thing. And I'm trying to like not say them, but the lack of leadership on the assembly side, the current leadership, not this leadership coming in, but the lack of leadership from the current leadership leading the Assembly Democratic Caucus. I am glad that Steve Yeager is gone, is all I'm going to say. Him and his red bottom shoes that he likes to brag about.
Louboutins. You are not Cardi B, sir.
Close. Not even close. So let's talk about veto watch now.
Yeah.
So apparently, the governor signed a couple bills. We'll put the link in the chat. It's on the legislative website. You can see what the governor has signed, what the governor hasn't signed, what bills passed, what bills didn't pass. We'll put the link in there. You just toggle between the different things. We're still waiting on the crime bill to be signed. We are still waiting on, what is it, SB 7? I think we were talking with Steve about earlier.
Yeah, SB 7.
Was it SB 7 or AB 7? I don't know why I couldn't keep straight. SB 7. So that needs to be signed. We're still waiting on a couple of others to be signed. So crime bill, haven't seen that. So unclear as to whether or not Joe Lombardo's in Cabo or not, because that's what we were hearing of where he was going, was Cabo with his family. But he has a few days to sign them. So if you want to keep up with what he's signing, what he's not going to sign, what he's going to veto, that link will be in the chat. It's a very interesting tool so you can follow along with what he's is and is not doing.
We should have a Cabo watch. Like if people spot him in Cabo.
The white tourist down there.
God. I wonder if Joe Lombardo's wearing a MAGA hat down there.
What a weirdo. What a weirdo. So what's next for the interim, for special session, for all the things? Well, we need to continue to have a conversation about food insecurity in the state. We need to continue to have a conversation about housing and housing prices and the crisis in the state. obviously we need to have a conversation about like the healthcare crisis in the state, the healthcare bill that Canizaro brought and hopefully will be signed by the governor. That's a good start, but we shall see. So yeah, so there's going to be a lot of interim committees starting to meet after the new year. And then we start getting ready for bills for the next legislative session, which will start in February of 2027 after the elections. Everybody's going to kind of go full swing into the election season starting like January, February of 2026. Obviously, the midterm elections are going to be super important to that. Those will be in November of 2020. We may have another special session if something shit hits the fan somewhere sometime in the spring. I've already heard rumblings of that. But, you know, again, if they have another special session, all of them have to stop fundraising. So do they want to do that or not? So we'll kind of have to see. But yeah, watching those interim committees is going to be the most important. I'm obviously watching those interim committees. So if you guys have questions about interim committees or the work that's being done in the interim, let us know because we're paying attention. Or if there's something we need to pay attention to, hit us up. We want to hear from you. So let's go in. That's enough for the rundown of terror, which was the 36th special session of the Nevada legislature. I'm sure there will be updates again next week, so tune in, but maybe we'll have some answers from Cabo and Governor Lombardo. Who knows? All right, Maria, you've been paying attention to other things. The local lowdown. What do we have going on around the state of Nevada? What's happening locally since you've been able to pay attention to that?
So locally, we have, I'll start because it's the perfect pivot. We talked about Nevada being ranked, and that was not a joke. We are literally ranked by, or as, one of the worst states to get sick in the US. The only state, you want to guess the only state that we beat or territory?
Puerto Rico?
Alaska. Alaska, you know, where it's like ice.
Not
Literally.
not the bad ice, like literal ice.
Literal ice.
Lots of ice.
Literal ice. Yeah, it's you want to know what is one of the states that is actually like a few steps better than us?
Louisiana?
Mississippi. Louisiana, yeah. Louisiana's better than Mississippi, but Mississippi's better than us. Arizona is better than us.
Great job, everyone.
We're literally at the
great, Nevada.
bottom 4 are Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, and Alaska.
We're in great company, everyone. Good job. Anytime we can be with Texas. Great job, everyone.
Iowa is better than us. Iowa. Yeah, and this is not some, you know, like Instagram graphic I found. We'll put the article in it was from the Reno Gazette Journal.
Like medical refugees to California.
Yeah, just like, and it was done by Health Gallup Center, State of the States 2025, Insights on Healthcare in America. So a legitimate, you know, study of healthcare in the US. So we suck. In education and to get sick.
Today, you'll appreciate this. So I went to my new doctor, who's awesome. And we were talking because I'm getting ready to, you know, go on a big adventure to Vietnam. And I was like, okay, so like, should I take any medication with me other than like the stuff that I'm prescribed? Should I like take any antibiotics? She's like, no, the healthcare system in Vietnam is better than the one in the US. I was like, good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great job. Great job, everyone. Good job. Yeah. What a shining star we are.
Shining star. Literally, when I got the flu in Puerto Rico during a staff trip for my day job, best medical visit I've ever had. Went to the hotel and everything. Knows my entire medical history now. But here we are.
Great job. Here we are.
Here we are, just rolling out Temu red carpets for whoever wants it. So not only is it terrible to get sick and we might have nuclear weapons tests, but near Burning Man.
Hey, speaking of, did you see that Horsford, Dina Titus, and Susie Lee were all sitting on the same couch talking about nukes? Now, I almost sent you the video. I need to send you the video because I was shocked to see them all sitting on the same couch. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they were all like, yeah, we don't want nukes. And of course, Dina, being the expert that she is on nuclear testing and all that. But like, to see her flanked by Horsford and Susie Lee, I was like, did hell freeze over? Is our delegation, like, working together?
Woo! Wow, look at them.
Who knew
Look
it
at
was nukes?
literal nuclear weapons will do that to you. It'll just make all the little differences actually be indifferent. But not only those weapons, but if you live near
Speaking of
Burning
bombs,
Man, speaking of bomb, there's a secretive startup. So, startups are already like, oh, but it's a secretive startup that is seeking permits to test explosives near Burning Man. Because that's also what we need. Because Burning Man helps with Northern Nevada tourism. That's what we need. Are bombs
here's
going
the other
off
part of
near
it.
Burning Man?
6 miles from the Fly Geyser, and
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming so it's 11 miles from the playa, but, like, all of that land is, like, sacred indigenous land.
Right.
I mean, there's even, like, problems with Burning Man being on that land, but
Exactly.
now you wanna blow shit up on sacred indigenous lands?
Nevada
Call
way.
me crazy, but I just don't think that's a great idea. Maybe not what we should be doing.
No. No. Mm-mm. No.
Most of the explosives will be the size of blasting caps.
The thing is, are you going to be testing one or are you going to be testing like 1,000?
It's created a sense that we're doing a lot of big bombs, he said during a presentation at the November 13th, because this would be like around Gerlach. The proposal has drawn criticism from Gerlach residents, naturally, Black Rock visitors, and wildlife advocates concerned about noise, air, and water quality. Yeah. Like, did we not learn anything
No, we're rolling out
from nuclear testing? Did we not
rolling out.
learn anything
No.
from the test site? Did
No.
we not learn anything from downwinders? If you don't know what a downwinder is, Google it.
The Yucca Mountain fight. No. No. We're just going to have the actual bombs being tested here. No.
Aaron fucking Brockovich. Did nobody watch that movie of like minerals and mining and all the groundwater shit we've dealt with? Has nobody
Listen.
like looked at our history and like, maybe we shouldn't put more shit in the ground? Maybe we should not contaminate our air and water. That's bad for people.
In the worst state to be sick in, we're gonna start blowing things up and screwing with
Can't
people's
get
air
treatment
quality.
if you're contaminated with bomb particles.
So basically, the Nevada way is good luck with asthma. You won't find a specialist, and your air is gonna suck.
I'm so tired. I'm just
Yeah. So that's what's going on in Nevada. That's the highlights, other than what you experienced.
You know what? Maybe we should just move this closer to Carson City and let them experience it during a special session. Maybe they'll feel differently.
Yeah.
Secretive startup. This is in the Nevada Independent. If anybody wants to look it up, this is their reporting. All right. Well, we haven't moved to the national hostage crisis called the Trump administration in a while. So, what the fuck is happening in the world, and what are some updates from
The world.
nationally and around the globe, Maria? What are all the great things happening in Trump's America?
So something that I had to monitor for my day job. Well, two things. One, I didn't get a chance to put in our thing, is that the United States is trying to interfere in the elections in Honduras that are happening this Sunday. And why? Is it because they care about transparency and democracy? No, it's because they want their Bitcoin bro to win the elections. And so for people that don't know, there's the Organization of American States. It's basically the European Union of the American continent, and everybody's there. And
For
the
those who
United
forget that we are a continent, it's not America is not just the United.
Yeah, so it's literal American states, countries, right? That
Now, is it
are
North
America.
America and South America, or
It's
is it
everybody.
just North?
It's everybody. It's Canada all the way down to Argentina. All of us. The whole gang.
The whole kit and caboodle.
And
And we were invited to that? Because I know we were invited to some shit recently.
so the U.S. is still a part of it. We haven't withdrawn yet. But today, the Deputy Secretary of State, so Rubio's second, basically asked for an extraordinary meeting, which means an unscheduled meeting, and everybody had to go rush down there to discuss their concerns about the elections coming up on Sunday. And what did the entire American continent except for Argentina, of course, gave him the big fat middle finger and said, no, we're not going to take up this agenda item. This is dumb.
Including us?
No, oh no, we voted for it, of course, the United States. But every country was just big fat no's. We're not going to support the United States in this. Argentina was on our side, but everybody else was like, I don't think so. Even Ecuador. And Ecuador has a right wing president. And they were like, this sounds like interference. But yeah, which takes me to the other part, which is because what they're trying to do in Honduras is what they did in Brazil with Jair Bolsonaro. And
which is unprecedented, which was incredible.
And for people that are wondering why he had an ankle bracelet that he tried to take off himself with a soldering iron over the weekend, as the U.S. Embassy literally had plans to ship him out of the country, but he needed to get that off, so he didn't know where he was, but he couldn't. That's what they were trying to do in Honduras, is they're trying to have this leader essentially start saying these are going to be rigged elections, and that way, hopefully they don't do this in Honduras, have some type of like denial of the elections, and then have protests, and then have a January 6th, January 8th style. But in Brazil, thanks to Bolsonaro trying to take off his ankle monitor himself, is now already going to start serving his 27-year sentence in prison for their version of January 6th, which is January 8th. So good job, Brazil Supreme Court, for actually being a Supreme Court that does things.
Well, hopefully it's not like Jen Shah and he doesn't get out on good behavior. For those who don't know who Jen Shah is, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
December 10th, that bitch is out of jail.
No, he was under house arrest because they didn't want him going anywhere before he actually started his prison sentence. So far, no good behavior. He literally said, I had a psychotic episode when I tried to
if you're in the process of going to a Brazilian jail, I'd probably have a psychotic episode too, friend. Especially when you think you're invincible.
Yeah. So
hopefully Trump sees the same fate. One can dream.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, so let's talk about the Mark Kelly of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Gabby Gifford's husband, war hero, astronaut, American legend, Mark Kelly, senator from the great state of Arizona, who is now being investigated, and other Democrats, for telling people to defy illegal orders that the United States government is giving our military personnel, because that's what they are, is illegal orders, specifically blowing shit up in the Caribbean. Let's talk about that, Maria. Talk about what's going on with our dear friend, Senator Mark Kelly. Gabby Gifford's husband.
Him and other actual war heroes, not like Bone Spurs
McGee.
Yeah. And Kash Patel and others who can't even pass an FBI background check.
Let alone look me in the eye.
Literally. People that would actually be welcomed in Valhalla, unlike Kash Patel, who probably would get denied as soon as he saw his eyes.
Speaking of, before we go there, what the fuck was Kash Patel and Kristi Noem doing at the F1 this weekend in our backyard? Get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants you in this state, number one. Number two, didn't even tell Congresswoman Titus they were going to be there, and that's her congressional district. Huge no-no. Then pops over to our airport and gives out fucking fake checks to TSA agents who are desperate for their fucking money. Get the fuck out of here. Stop wasting my taxpayer dollars, you fucking weirdos. The fuck out of here. Nobody wants you in Las Vegas. Sorry, I digress.
So those losers are out here trying to investigate Mark Kelly, Senator Kelly, and other congressional representatives that have actually read the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and not only in their service, but in the video that got them investigated, they're literally reciting the Uniform Code of Military Justice. If people don't know what that is like, not only do you have to abide by American laws and the Constitution as a military branch and military member, but that is like the added layer of legality that you have to operate under, and it's a little bit more strict, or a lot more strict in many cases. And it actually says that you cannot and should not comply with illegal orders. And what that does is it allows for the military to actually have some sort of independence and not be run by a dictator, which is literally where we're at now. And that's the crossroads we're in, that was written in so that people that actually know what they're doing. And look, military has done fucked up things. But in this case, in this instance, I'm really glad that people are actually standing up and saying, no, you actually need to. These are actually like extremely illegal orders that you cannot abide by.
Yeah.
But now they're getting threatened by either getting court-martialed, now apparently getting requests to be interviewed by the FBI, which is probably Kash Patel's friends.
Here's what if I were them, much like when they threatened to arrest Gavin Newsom, I'd be like, come get me, motherfucker.
Come find me. You know where to find me.
You know where to fucking find me. Come get me. Because on a regular basis, I'm like, this dumbass federal government, and I hope I am on a list somewhere. Put me on a list because I hate Donald Trump and I hate this government, and I will criticize it until the day I die. Put me in a camp, I dare you. It will be the biggest pain in the ass you've ever met. If I were Mark Kelly, I'd be like, fuck you motherfuckers, come find me.
Find me in my spaceship.
Like, this man has seen actual war, has done actual service for our communities, has done actual service in the United States military. Fuck you, Donald Trump, is what I would say. Fuck you, cross-eyed Kash Patel.
Kash Patel can't even...
He can't even see to find him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mark Kelly has been a ship captain, been a combat pilot, and actually went to space. That man can drive anything under the sun. But he's the one getting questioned.
Mark Kelly's like, you silly motherfuckers, try me.
Try me.
His quote, his statement was like perfection, because he was like, first of all, I'm going to keep doing the right thing and telling people when things are bullshit and when people are fascists. But second of all, most importantly, what?
Yeah,
like,
and
what are you even doing? Like, try me.
Yeah, literally try me. Probably know some of the best JAGs in the country.
Hey, listen, Donald Trump's having a bad week because he also went after Comey, which I don't give a fuck about Comey because fuck Jim Comey, but lost on Comey, lost on Letitia. So guess what? You're having a bad week already about going after people illegally. So good luck, motherfucker.
Good luck.
You're going to fail like everything else.
Yeah. But
failure is Donald Trump's middle name.
But do you want to get the final item, which is good news of what's happening in the world?
Go. Sure.
Italy has written into law the recognizing of the crime of femicide, and the punishment for it is life in prison.
But also, I'm going to come with one more from Italy, my dear friends in Italy, my ancestors, because while they were doing a good thing on femicide, they also did some homophobic shit this week, too. So hang on. Because I saw it in passing. I was like, well, can't go there. Because I saw it in passing and I was like, oh, I got to remember this. There was some shit on LGBTQ folks that I was like, ooh, that's real bad. Because they're on the fast track to fascism, too, again. Their new leader, she ain't great. I've been doing a little research in case I got to flee the country. Nope, it wasn't the surrogacy stuff. That was from July. Anyways, there was something that happened this week. I'll find it for the episode next week. So yes, congrats to Italy on femicide. Love that for you. But your leader's still doing fucking problematic shit. So hold her accountable because she is on the fast track to fascism.
Oh, yeah. She is a fascist. Yeah, 100%.
Well, she's like a Trump wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, maybe I can't go to Italy because my people are still electing dumb fucking people.
No, just go to Ireland. Go to your other side.
We'll just go to Spain. It's easier.
For healthcare.
Prettier. Not prettier than Italy. It's like 50-50 with Italy, but Ireland's beautiful too. Okay, what are our hot takes and headaches for the week?
Hot takes. I'm not surprised to see the Nevada legislature operate the Nevada way. Yeah. It's also the headache. Because how do legislators not want to actually legislate? At least some of them at the top making the decisions.
My hot take and my headache this week is Dancing with the Stars. Because me and April Corbin from the Nevada Current, we are avid watchers of Dancing with the Stars, and last week, Whitney Lovett went home from Secret Lives and Mormon Wives, and I believe it was an absolute mistake and travesty because she was the best dancer on the show, and the finale is tonight, and I swear to God, if somebody who sucks wins, I'm gonna be so pissed. But losing Whitney, this is my hot take this week, was an absolute travesty and should not have happened. I don't care if you like her or not, judge her on her dancing because her dancing was phenomenal.
Ooh,
That's my hot take this week.
it's a hot take.
That's what got me and April through the special session was our realization that we love more than just Taylor Swift and that we have so much in common, including our shit TV. All right, everyone. Well, that is the final bell. It is time to gavel out and recess. Maria, send us away.
Yeah. So next time we'll give you updates from Cabo Watch and Vito Watch. And in the meantime, make sure to rate, review, slide into our DMs if you have any ideas. All of that you can find at the links in our bios. So follow us there and let us know your thoughts, ideas. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
And have a safe and happy Thanksgiving or whatever it is. If you don't celebrate genocide like I don't in my family, have a great holiday weekend. Spend it with your family, see each other. But whatever you celebrate, have a great one, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.